Hi, everybody. Welcome to AITA Pod. I'm Danny Vega, joined by the inimitable Sean Lee.
That's me.
And our lovely guest today.
Yeah, we got Horace Gold in the building, y'all.
Shannon's
I don't know what those
biffle.
moves are.
That was a weird noise you made there. But
Crazy
you know,
dance
aiming for
moves,
myself.
too.
I'm excited
See,
to
I
be
told
here.
you he was not a dancer.
It's been a little, he's not a dancer. It's been hard for me though, because, you know, now you got this boyfriend, but last time I saw you, you know, I think you're a good looking guy. You're
Thanks,
cut.
Danny.
You got good mussies.
He sure does.
But now you're not really sending me any compliments, I guess, because you got this boyfriend.
It's very true. I'm a loyal man.
Yeah,
he
he made
was-
me feel pretty attractive last time.
Aw,
So
give him
sucks.
a compliment, Horace.
Danny,
Look at those forearms.
Thanks, man.
fucking
My
sick.
forearms, I actually feel weakest about my forearms. So thank you.
But
for
they
saying that.
got good definition, you know?
Thank you. No, I'm
So-
glad to be here, guys. Thanks for having me
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for coming back. We're at Spotify.
Super cool. We love the Spotify. Listen
We
on
love
Spotify.
We feel so legit.
So
legit,
cool.
what?
We're in the studio. I just had a spicy mango.
Ooh.
Love it.
Oh.
Thanks for
It's like a
sharing.
mango.
Yeah, they have
and
some-
Real good.
They have some snacks out there.
yeah, good little snackaroos.
Snackaroos.
Love it.
But we got a little wedding app for you guys.
We do. None of us are married, though.
Not
We should have
yet.
maybe saved this for someone who even has been to any weddings. Horace just told us that he's only been to 2 weddings his entire
even know what
life.
to
I'm
say.
sorry.
That.
You can't say that I've not been to any weddings and then say I've been to 2. I've been to 2 weddings.
Barely any.
That's like
One was when I was
I've been
14.
to 2 weddings.
Was that
by the
your
time I was-
brother?
My sister. Oh, I've been to 3 weddings.
Oh,
2 of them
okay.
are my siblings, and then 1 was recently in
Okay.
Mexico.
Wait, oh yeah, that's right.
So that
Who
one
was
was
that? Your boyfriend's friend, or
my
that was
friend.
your friend?
Yeah.
I've been to 2 weddings of people I actively hate. You
Wow.
know, like
Really?
I was joking. It was supposed to be a joke. It got weird.
Oh.
No, but I have been to literally like probably 5 weddings of people where I'm like I could think of their name, but it would take me a while.
I have a
You
rule-
were a guest.
Yeah,
so
I was
plus
like,
one.
yeah,
I have a
always
rule that
think
I
that's
don't
strange.
want to meet people at my wedding. I don't want to be like, oh, hi, what's your
Exactly,
name?
same.
Like,
I
fuck
would. That's
no.
exactly what I was gonna say.
I
Because
like
there's
that
been
rule.
times too where I've been meeting the bride. It's like Max's friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the groom.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and you know, they're always so gracious and happy that I'm there. And they're like, oh, I've like heard about you, blah, blah. But I'm always just like, I would not want that at my wedding.
I think
Like,
it's
I
weird.
only want people like, it's not even that I've just met you. Like, I need to like straight up like really like you.
I feel the same way. It's it's like the most intimate day to me to like confess the love of my life, and I are like betrothed forever, and
Yeah.
our love is like eternal. Like I'm not gonna be like, who the fuck is that?
And actually, I remember this one
Until
time.
death do us part, though. It's not eternal.
Oh yeah, till death.
Till
Yeah,
death.
Not after death. You're good. You're good. You're in the
You're
clear
good.
when you're in heaven.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's no rule. It
There's no
says if
rule?
you kill him, that's still clean. It's not adultery.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So are you advocating for spousal murder right now?
I'm not advocating for
Yeah, why
anything. I'm more
not?
pointing Shannon. Shannon seemed excited about it.
Great.
So fun.
So, what would you guys want though? Like, if you had a wedding, are we talking big? Is it destination? What are we thinking?
I do talk about this with my boyfriend quite a lot.
Okay.
Here we go.
They've
And
only been
so-
dating 4 months, folks.
But I love him. I think what I want is to get married for real in private. I want to, for me, a marriage has become this thing where people like perform. I'm in love, you know, and to me, I'm like,
Yeah.
I want to like be bonded with my partner one-on-one first, legitimately, like privately,
Mhm.
and then throw a party. I kind of want,
I like that
you know,
too.
like have a party, like I don't really need to read vows. Like we can like play music, like have like a singer, like
Yeah.
have a dance party, have a dinner, have the whole thing. But I'm not sitting here like confessing like my deepest, darkest.
Not in front of an audience.
fuck
Like, I
no.
like vows, but privately.
Yeah, exactly. That's
We're on
what
the
I
same
want. That's what I
page.
want.
Let's get married.
Let's get married.
That's so sweet. That's so
Danny, you
cute.
can,
I'm
get
very
us married.
pro straight gay weddings. I think that's magical.
We should, yeah.
I think why not?
They would be amazing. Well, we would put on a hell of a show.
Oh my God, the dancing would be
big
amazing.
theater
Really
kid
would,
energy.
yes. What about you?
Well, wait, I feel like I didn't get a lot of like, I guess I thought there would be more of an answer about setting or something like that. You guys didn't have any setting
Oh,
based
I
things.
haven't
Like, is it a
answered yet.
beach
You
or
go
a
ahead.
park? or-
Yeah, I'm more of a like beach, cliffside, like at sunset
Yeah.
kind of guy.
Big
That's
Sur.
nice.
Like Big Sur, Malibu, Mexico, that kind of like, I'm a beach boy at heart.
Okay.
Like I'll always love being near the water.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I've always been into like lakes and like mountains. I like lake life, river, that kind of stuff. I love the beach. Like I grew up by the beach, but I don't know, maybe something like that. Even like a forest is really pretty too, but I think like cliffside.
A forest? Is that what's like a forest you have to walk to?
Like a little
or
Edward,
forest.
Edward and Bella.
That's like we also say forehead instead of forehead on
Forehead?
the East Coast. A forehead, yeah.
Really?
At least where I grew up. But or like cliffside, yeah. I don't think I'd want to be on the actual beach because I'm not a sand gal.
No, I think cliffside is
But cliffside would be gold just at
love
sunset.
that for you.
Yeah.
What about you?
My setting, I'm not super rigid about this. I view the wedding as her thing more than anything, but I think a snow wed is gorgy porch. I haven't seen it done.
Snow wedding?
Never been to a
That would
snow
be
wedding.
gorgeous.
I think it matches, right? Weddings are all about, wearing all white. And I just
Would
think
you come down the aisle on a snowboard?
that would be ideal.
Yes.
I mean, I do have a deal with a listener. She's a lesbian that we're going to get married on one wheels. So we could like combine the two. I don't know. We got to figure it out. But I do know this. The bachelor party, I went to a great bachelor party and it was not a party, just like a weekend.
Yeah.
And I think my dream is that whatever it is, I don't need the big events, the Coachella-ness of it. I just want it to be an extended thing where like there's a lot of friends where I'm like, God, I would love to just like have days,
yeah.
not 3 days, like maybe like just 5. If I can get 5 days,
Good amount.
yes, like in a hotel, and not like we're hanging out every single second, but just like maybe 2-3 things a day, and really bond and have a lot of memories with people. And I feel like there's not that many opportunities in life to do that.
Yeah.
That to me is what I want
For the
sweet.
bachelor trip.
for the bachelor trip, but also just I'd love that to be the energy of the wedding
too.
Like,
That's definitely become a more common thing in modern days, and I really do like that because then you really get to spend time with the people. Because
Yes.
otherwise, the bride and groom are like paying all this money, or planning either way, and then they're barely getting to see their friends.
exactly. And I don't care. Like, I understand maybe you need 150 people or whatever at the ceremony. Fine. I can give that. But like, let's be honest. You really don't need most of those people. Like, I'm talking about 20, 30 motherfuckers for
that are
5
there, like
whole
all
days.
staying
My
kind
ride or
of the
die ass
same.
bitches.
Yes.
I cannot imagine how fucking fun that would be to have like
so fun.
And like that's kind of the thing to me where I'm like, that's almost I don't want to go as far and say like I don't need a honeymoon, but like there is something about the like I want to have that time where I'm not stressed about the wedding.
Yeah.
And like kicking it with my bitch.
I actually have heard of people doing that like after the fact. It's like the friends, like the really close friends stay at wherever, like say it's like a destination or kind of like closer destination, but they'll have like a friend moon for like a few days after.
Oh, I think I have heard of a friend
because I'm like,
moon.
we're
That's
about
so
to like once it's
fun.
over, we're gonna go home and it's gonna be you and me anyways. We're gonna have the rest of our lives just you and me.
And I have
Exactly.
heard that there definitely is like a little bit of state of depression, like after the fact that so many people
course.
go through. It's like the post-wedding blues.
Yes.
Because it's like you're spending like a year planning this thing and then it happens and it's over in a millisecond, everyone says.
It's so fast.
And then, you're like, well, what now? Which is why going on a honeymoon right after is good because then you can, rest and
beach,
enjoy
relax.
and all of that. But a lot of people have been doing honeymoons way later too.
Yeah, I feel like that's become more normal now. It says like
I
we're
think because
gonna
of people's
honeymoon.
schedules.
Yeah.
Because like if you take off, like you're thinking you're probably going to at least take a week off for the wedding. So then it's like, okay, well then let's maybe take 2 weeks off like in 6 months.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
It's a toughie.
I've seen it a lot of different ways. I had a friend who just did the like post-wedding, the one in Mexico. Post-wedding, it was like 3 days where everyone was like invited to just like hang, and then they went on a
friend
separate,
moon
but then they went on a separate honeymoon after that.
I like that.
I love that.
So they were just like
In Mexico?
they went on a cruise that started in Mexico. Yeah.
Okay, nice.
So yeah, I mean, I think that there's a ton of ways, and I think that's what's beautiful about weddings in the modern day is that I think we've all addressed that it is this somewhat antiquated thing, but it is also beautiful and also like resourceful, there's like benefits to marriage.
Yeah.
And so like if we're going to do it, like fucking do it the way you want to do it, like
I think so.
my partner and I have been talking, like, we're not going to do like separate bachelor parties. Like, I think it's weird to be like, ooh, what am I going to get out well before I'm fucking married?
That
like,
attitude.
That whole thing is so weird to me.
I like when they're separate because I think it's just fun. Like, I mean, maybe because you guys are both men, but like, it's nice to just be with the girls, you know, or like with just the guys. Like, if you guys all have similar friends, and you probably would have a mix of genders there, I would assume.
For sure.
Or if you have like really close friend group, like actually my sister's best friend, they all went on a trip for theirs and it was just like a bunch of their friends that all went. I think that's fun too. But wait, I was going to say something.
Well, I don't know. I don't necessarily, I mean, that's great. I guess I'm curious if there's a gay dynamic there,
For
but
sure.
like, I don't know. I've always felt like the bachelor or bachelorette party has the same thing. It's like, oh, actually that's called the wedding. That's what that's going to be. Like, I don't know.
That's
it
why
doesn't
I like it being separate.
Yeah, it's
I think
kind
it's
of
fun.
like, and I think it's important to preserve
That's a
your
good point.
identity and like not go too all in on shit. I don't know.
I think
That's a
so
good
too.
point.
That's what
That's a
that's
good
how
point.
I feel. I definitely feel that way. And then it's like, I don't know, kind of fun to like whenever I've been on bachelorette trips and I'm meeting my really close friends who, you know, I've heard about. And then it makes the wedding like that much more fun because then it's like you got to meet all these people
Yes.
ahead of time.
Yes, and that's kind of like the bachelor party is to lay the groundwork so that they're at least oriented. Some of my friends that I want to introduce to other friends. So then when we get to my 5-day wedding extravaganza in the snow mountains,
Extravaganza.
there
is
we
what
go.
I'm hearing.
That's right.
You know,
but I definitely don't like a lot of the like traditional, like I wouldn't do the bouquet or like the garter.
What about like seeing the dress before you're married?
I probably would keep that, but I don't like when the first look is with the photographer. Have you guys seen that? It's like more of a newer thing, and they like go somewhere and then they like tap on their shoulder and then they turn around and the guy's supposed to like, I feel like there's so much pressure on the guy to like have a good reaction because it's like all for the picture. I love when the woman's walking down the aisle and then the guy is like tearing up seeing her for the first time. But the whole first look with the photographer seems so cheesy to me.
I can't wait to see what comes out of your wedding, like the wedding photographs. That's going to be so cool. Well, you said you're getting a photographer. So
is that what I said?
You must take photographs, right? Not photos. I mean, but let me know if you have photos as well. I had a cringe wedding story I wanted to tell you guys. So right when the podcast was getting started, I was like, you know, it would be great if I could promote the podcast on Reddit. Kind of a no-brainer. And right, you with me? You're making a face like you're confused.
Wait, but what about the wedding? How does that have to do with it?
I'm coming to the wedding. Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on, sister.
There's four words in the story. I think he'll get there.
Thank you. Thank you. I need him here. She's like mad at me. I just started. Give me a chance.
I think I'm hijacking. You start over. I don't think I heard you.
That's okay. I didn't feel heard. So that's interesting. It was right when the podcast started.
Okay.
I was trying to promote it on Reddit.
Okay,
now you could only post text to the Am I the Asshole subreddit. So you're not allowed to post like a link to a podcast.
Oh, right.
So what I did was I made my username Am I the Asshole Podcast.
Okay.
Or maybe it was Am I the A-Hole Podcast. But whatever. I remember it was exactly the maximum length. And I was like, oh, this is so perfect. Kismet. And so what I thought was photographs. And so what I thought was I will simply post. I will be a good little commenter. And then I will simply wait in accordance with the rules because you're not supposed to post links either. I will wait until somebody asks me, hey, is there a podcast? Okay. So I posted very diligently. I didn't have a job at the time. So I was posting every day. Finally, boom, I land a comment, top comment. I get like, 11,000 upvotes.
Oh, perfect.
And I'm like, sweet baby Jesus, give it to me. Somebody responds, hey, I noticed your username. Do you really have a podcast? Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Here's the link.
Wait, okay. And then you can add a link in comments?
I mean, I thought I could get away with it. I was like, I didn't promote. It wasn't spamming. Somebody asked me. Okay. I gave them the fucking link.
Gotcha. But the moderators could technically have like taken it down.
They could technically do whatever the fuck they want. It's going up. The comment itself with the link has over 100 upvotes. I'm like, baby, it's happening. I worked so hard for this. I must have commented at least 100 times. I'm like, it's finally happening for me. You've been banned from Am I the Asshole podcast.
Oh my God.
Or Am I the Asshole subreddit, excuse me. And I was so devastated. It literally went through a 1 week appeal process where like they kept going back and forth and eventually decided to just ban me. And I was like, whatever. It's pretty hilarious now that like literally every Am I the Asshole goes viral on like 9 different platforms through like 40 different podcasts. So like they had no idea that was going to happen because we were the first ones, Sarah and I. Yep. And anyway, so that's the whole story. That's probably the shorter condensed version. I went to a wedding.
Okay,
it was
like, where the fuck does this have to do with the wedding?
Yeah, come on.
Wedding. It was the wedding of people who made like real New York ass money.
Okay.
And it was super gorgeous, like just unbelievable opulence. Like I just remember like it was like a tower, a charcuterie tower, basically, like all these tiers. It was just ridiculous. And obviously I'm reflecting now, I was like, God, everyone at this wedding was probably bougie and a half. You know what I mean? Like this is like, oh, you're a corporate lawyer. Oh, so you're the unsuccessful child. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, you don't know the company yet? Like, and guys, that story, I was like raw from that story. I was devastated. You know, I felt like I had it. I felt like I had really had it and then I lost it. I didn't have a job. I had nothing going for me. So like that Reddit comment was like my number one thing. And I proceeded to just tell that story over and over and over. I like the third retelling.
Were people's eyes like glazing over?
They were with me, but they didn't like really get it. They would just be kind of like, oh, I'm sorry that happened.
Oh,
it wasn't like
almost like worse.
Yeah, it was bad. It wasn't playing well, but it was just all I had to talk about. I had nothing going on really. And my girlfriend was like, can you stop telling that story? And I was like, that's all I have basically. And I just kept telling it.
I have no other talking points.
I'm a shell of a man except for my deleted podcast
comment
link.
And yeah, looking back, she was right. I should have figured out something else to talk about.
Yeah.
Well, now you have a whole list of things to talk about today. Look at how life goes.
You have so many situations.
Yeah.
So much more to talk about.
Great transition. Great transition.
Exactly.
That's beautiful. Yeah, guys, we got a juicy app for you today. Shano going for the wedding app. We love to see it. And it's a juicer if there ever was one, people.
A juicer.
Our second story of the day. AITA for not wanting my girlfriend to walk down the aisle and spend extra time with her ex for a wedding.
Oh.
Good Lord. I'm already getting annoyed. But first, folks, AITA for uninviting my fiance's mom for saying I, quote, cheaped out on the ring and wedding. I, 34M, am engaged to my fiance, Emily, 31F. Both of our families are lower class, so we have to pay for the wedding by ourselves. We talked it through and I suggested we have a more chill, small wedding and save our money for a down payment on a bigger house. I make significantly more than her. She's a teacher and I'm a doctor. So I told her I'd take care of the majority of expenses like the venue, catering, and planner if she just paid for her dress and the smaller stuff. Last week, her parents hosted a party for us before the wedding, and her mom kept making comments about how she can't believe how small our wedding will be, or that we're not hosting it at the fancy hotel downtown that's, quote, just so much better and elegant than what I chose. I even overheard her talking to her sister about how small the diamond is in Emily's ring, and that it's embarrassing a doctor won't treat her daughter better. I spent about $5,000, which I thought was fair. She just seems so hung up on the fact that her daughter is marrying a doctor, but the wedding/ring aren't on a doctor level. Based on what I know, I think she's a little embarrassed about her family's socioeconomic status and was hoping her daughter marrying a doctor would help improve her image to her friends and extended family. Throughout all of it, Emily looked extremely embarrassed and awkward and kept trying to tell her mom it was fine. And her mom just said, you need to learn to stand up for yourself. This is when I lost it and told her mom she can be uninvited from the wedding if she has so many problems with it and is embarrassed by how quote unquote cheap I am. AITA. Uh-oh.
Whoa. What do we think?
I think that like there's a lot here. I think this is a really interesting case of like rich dad, poor dad. You know, like I think that people who grow up with like lower socioeconomic access and resources have this like grandiose idea of what a certain job, what that wealth really looks like, you know? So like this woman, I can clearly see that like she thinks a doctor means that he's making that rich ass New York ass money you're talking about, when like that's not really the case when you're that young. You know what I mean? Like doctors it accrues over time.
A lot of debt.
Oh,
You're not making
Takes time.
fucking
And
$6 million
med
a year.
Like, I mean, he's 34, so I mean, it takes like
Relatively.
8 years
Takes
after
forever.
he's
college,
just getting
right?
started, you know, so it's not like he's like millions and millions and millions. And so the idea that this mother who grew up what is described as poverty for so long is like, it should be bigger. It's like, that's almost like this childlike expectation of what money really looks like when he's actually being more fiscally responsible, you know, wanting to put the money towards something.
For a bigger house.
A house.
Yeah.
You know, versus like, and I just think people waste money on a day when you could actually be saving it for like your lifetime.
Absolutely. And I mean, honestly, like, I think spending too much money on a diamond ring is kind of pointless because like you become a target, honestly, like to be wearing a huge ring like that. And then you can't really wear it very often. You have to be like very mindful when you have it on anywhere because you become a target. Like you can't travel with it. You really should be mindful if you're using public transportation.
Totally.
And so I would think that one that was a little bit more modest would be one that you can wear on a regular basis.
And like diamonds also kind of like falling out of trend a little bit. Like different stones are becoming used more often. People are using moissanite, ruby. Like people are. It's one of those things where it's like it's
QBZ, baby.
It's like not. I don't know about that, but I don't know. It just seems really like this mom has this like. Idea of like when I'm a girl, I wanted my wedding to be big this and the diamond and the this and the that. And it's like, girl, it's not your wedding.
I think she's pretty obviously projecting her insecurity. It's like you're poor and like now you're trying to dictate how this is going to go. It's like super desperate.
Yeah. I mean, he kind of nailed it on the head with what he said. Like it seems like that she's embarrassed about her own family and hoping that her marrying a doctor would improve her image. Like,
which it will.
Yeah, it would.
I guess. I mean, it's such a sick way of looking at the world. Like,
totally.
Well, now my brand is better now that she's with a doctor.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
The only thing, and he doesn't mention this at all, but the only thing that I could maybe like give her a pass for was if like he was spending a lot of money on himself, like buying really nice, expensive cars and, you know, buying himself like incredibly bougie tuxedo and stuff, and then getting her a $5,000 ring. Right. Like if it was that, I would be like, okay, I get that because it's like, you know, why isn't he treating my daughter as well as he's treating himself?
Totally. Well, I mean, even then I'd be like, that's kind of none of your business, lady. Like they're a couple, let them handle it. Like if she wanted to raise it to her and be like, hey, I'm a little concerned. Yeah. Seems like he bought himself a Lambo. You're over there with.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a pass for like talking shit throughout the entire engagement party to everyone. Like there's no pass there, but I could just see like being slightly concerned and wanting to bring it up.
Bringing it up to her is
and also,
okay.
what the fuck do you expect him to do? Like, what do you want him to like? You're at the party. Like, do you think he's gonna? You know, like it's not. It's happening. You know, like this complaining in this moment is just making you look stupid because the party's already happening.
Yeah. Wait.
What did you want?
Where were? It wasn't the wedding. It was.
The engagement party?
I think it was the engagement party, right?
Yeah. He says throughout it all.
Yeah. Oh, her parents hosted a party for us. Maybe it was like the welcome dinner.
It's just really gross. And you're like dictating all these things. And it's like, you know, it's like some of these things too. It's like you don't even know if this is a cost-based thing. It's like you want us to be at the fancy hotel downtown. It's like, well, maybe we just don't want to be downtown. You know, is it downtown LA? There's some sketchy roads, but Spotify is beautiful. Yeah. Lazy River Dog writes, NTA, this sounds incredibly exhausting and selfish. She's ruining the atmosphere of a special day for her daughter and for you. I hope this doesn't foreshadow how she'll be throughout your marriage. Sounds like a nightmare. I mean, I feel like what he said was really harsh and almost vibe killer status.
Right.
And I do think, like, we were kind of talking about this on the bonus, but like, you know, you don't want to go too hard when you're shutting anyone down because realistically, whether it's a child or an adult acting like a child, when you come in guns a-blazing, that kind of means they might pull out their guns and then you're making a scene. So like there's also a skill in learning how to deal with children and women children.
He was at their house too.
The
Yeah,
party
he's
they
at
were
their
hosting at the
house.
very least.
Which I'm like traditional in that sense.
You know, like pull her aside. Hey, you know, Miss Wheeler, when you discuss these things right now, I think it's just a little hard for us to hear it. And I'm sorry we couldn't do it your way, but we just couldn't. And you might have to throw some bullshit on, but sometimes you got to throw on the bullshit to get a fucking annoying, stupid person to shut the fuck up.
Very true.
Because then she becomes the victim. And then what's the story? What's the narrative for the rest of the wedding? My son-in-law is kicking me out of my daughter's wedding.
Because I wanted better for her.
And as we've said a million times, especially in this case, like you marry the family, like, yeah, she might be, she's toxic. She's a narcissist. Hey, I'm not saying that's not true, but she's going to be part of your life.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to try to push your spouse to go no contact with her mother. Whoa, that's not okay. You know what I mean?
And she has to go to the wedding. Like you don't want this to be.
She really has to.
She has to.
It's basically a law.
And you don't want this to be the narrative of what your wedding
and how
was.
your marriage begins is a fight with your mother-in-law. Like.
But also that totally sucks though that she is doing this and then this is what he's remembering of his own wedding too.
No, it sucks.
Like if he wasn't to say anything at all, then he'd probably be stewing.
But it's
so
also
I like your compromise.
I don't know. And it's like, know your truth. No, he needs to be like, we're financially planning. This is where we're at. We're being responsible. Yeah. I have to let some shit fall off the fucking back. Like, you know, like not everything needs justice all the time.
That's exactly. It's like you can't, if you're gonna, you can't have a conflict with this person as if they're your peer or someone you genuinely care about. Like there's certain relationships that are like, no, it's a mandatory relationship. Like your relationship with your boss. Like God, of course, we'd all love to have a non-toxic boss who could hear our complaints and feelings, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But like, a lot of the times they are a toxic piece of shit motherfucker. And you can't tell them that.
Right. Yeah.
You did this and I had a sleepless night. You can't tell them, you know?
Yep. Yeah. It's true. So I don't know. What do we think? I mean, definitely not the asshole for how she's clearly the asshole, but are we going to say he is too?
I mean, for what he asked, yeah.
Yeah.
You think so? I guess I go, I think it's a botch. I think it's a botch. I understand why he would do it.
He also did say like, I feel like his threat was like, if you can't get on board, then you can be uninvited. Like he didn't say you're uninvited. He said like, you can be uninvited. You don't have to come to this wedding.
I thought it wasn't that crazy. It wasn't the right thing to do. I think we all agree there. But like, I don't feel like it was malicious. He didn't take a shot at her. What he said was harsh and it was kind of a faux pas.
And he doesn't mention, which he might be picture painting here, but he doesn't mention that it was in front of a ton of people. And say I did it in front of the party. Like maybe it was the three of them having a conversation and maybe it was kind of more what you were saying, but
pulling
a little
less tactful.
Yeah.
So I think we agree.
Soft ESH.
Soft ESH. I can live with that.
Yeah,
I'm good with
way
that
more
too.
leaning on her.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Please rate, review, subscribe, listen on Spotify, where their beautiful headquarters in downtown LA. I don't know if it's their headquarters, whatever. It's one of the Spotify.
I think it is.
It's the Spotify headquarters now.
Yeah.
We're here.
Channel. AITA for not wanting my girlfriend to walk down the aisle and spend extra time with her ex for a wedding. I, 28M, have been dating Bailey, 24F, for almost a year now. Her college friend Kiki is getting married this summer and I'll be her +1. Kiki just asked Bailey to be the maid of honor. The issue is that Bailey's ex-boyfriend is going to be the best man, and she gave me a heads up that they'll be walking down the aisle together. And we'll have to meet up at some point to prepare a joint reception toast and plan the bachelor/bachelorette trip as requested by the bride and groom.
Oh, no.
Obviously, I don't want to tell her who she can and can't hang out with, but I just don't feel comfortable with Bailey spending so much time with her ex, especially because they only broke up a few months before we started dating and have a lot of history together. I asked her to see if she could make some changes to those plans because I would have the respect to do it for her if the roles were reversed. It became a huge fight because she thinks I don't trust her, even though that's not true. I also said that she also said that she doesn't want to change any of those plans because Kiki specifically asked her and her ex to be in charge of all of the bridal party together. I even suggested, what if she just texted and Zoomed with him? But, because I don't see why they have to be in person and hanging out for the planning. To this, she just said she can hang out with her ex and it's not that deep. I don't know if I even want to attend the wedding anymore because it just feels like she's picking her ex over our relationship. Since then, Kiki has texted me saying I can't tell Bailey what to do, which I didn't. I simply made a request, and that I'm ruining the wedding planning. AITA?
Nightmare. I feel so much for this OP.
Okay, I do too. I wasn't sure if you guys were going to be on Team Bride or not, because it's like, I feel like there can be definitely a lot of different opinions here.
Well, I was going to say the gay thing, because we have learned here that
the gay thing.
Well, the gays have a different view. The gay agenda is kind of pro-ex. We don't hear about that very often, that the relationship with the exes is a little bit different with lesbians. I don't know. What is your perception?
I feel multiple ways about this.
Okay.
I think it's shady of the asshole here is Kiki.
That's what I think.
Like, why are you so fucking insistent on making them do everything together?
And it's not even,
I think
weird.
they're plotting to get them back together.
Exactly. Yeah, you have to do it in a certain
person.
way.
Like what? Like
why can't it be
no Zoom?
Yeah.
It's like, okay. And there needs to be candles lit when you plan.
Exactly.
Beautiful candles.
If you guys
lit.
aren't holding hands when you write the list together, then it's void. It doesn't count.
Yeah.
You're like, girl, if you guys aren't fucking while you're arranging my seats, then it doesn't count.
It has to be that the ex and Kiki and Bailey and her groom are all college friends, and they have this big group, and they all want them all to be together. Like, I feel like it's for selfish reasons.
It's so cruel to do that to poor OP.
Okay, but then my thing with him is, and I was waiting for this, and then he says it, I'm like, dog, you're gonna be there. It's not like you didn't get invited to the wedding.
Well, the wedding, but
like all the other shit. But like, you don't trust you, and like that is the caveat, the crux, the like of it all is he doesn't trust her.
I disagree completely. I think that people like I trust you to not go and hang out with your ex for prolonged periods of time. I mean, like, okay, so here's a story. My friend was in a relatively happy relationship. There was no
hoppy.
I don't think
was it a lot of, did they add hops to the relationship after, or did it come that way?
Got your back, honey.
Wait, what did you say?
You said hoppy. Instead of happy.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, so these two rabbits are super cute and they're in this relationship. No. So they were together, and because of COVID, she ended up like spending a lot of time with one of her coworkers, just because like they lived together or something like that.
Yeah.
And they ended up spending just a lot of time alone together. Now, I don't necessarily think she's a bad person at all, because the reality is, if you put a man and a woman together alone, and sometimes just like kind of, it's like, oh, really? You had gasoline by fire and an explosion happened? What a crazy thing. Like, and we already know that they
have a sexual chemistry at the very least. I understand that.
And it's like, it's not a trust thing. It's an understanding of how humans work. Like, that's just how it is. Like, sometimes like being together can lead to chemical reactions. And it's not about trust, but
she ended up with him, right? Didn't she leave her boyfriend?
Oh yeah, you're going. Yeah. They that's what ended up happening.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know. I've reflected a lot about that, because I can see every step of that being like, I trust you, no problem.
Yeah.
And then it's like
the whole Jim and Pam thing from The Office. Like, they're spending 8 hours a day with each other. They have chemistry, and they ended up together.
And I also think
Classic.
it's like the work wife thing, all that stuff. And I also think, to your point, it's heightened by what are we doing? We're essentially planning a wedding. You know, and it's like if this is someone that you were like intimate with at one point, now you're like, oh my god,
Oh,
like,
true.
It's in the fucking air.
wedding, like,
It's in the air.
I totally see what you're saying.
We've dreamt about this before.
Yeah.
We've talked about this.
And why do women like weddings so much? And weddings are known for hooking up. It's like the whole thing is about fucking hooking up, dog. Like that's the whole thing.
And I just think Kiki sucks. Kiki, if you're watching this,
Yeah, we don't like you.
I don't like you.
I gave
You're
her the name
shady.
Kiki, by the way.
Oh, you did?
It was K and B.
Ugh,
Oh, I like it.
loser. They're losers.
Loser Kiki. Well,
Like, I don't like that
You
because
got
you
me.
know what you're fucking doing.
and I also understand the like how it was that they had only broken up a few months before the new relationship got back together.
That's just even worse. Yeah.
Because actually that kind of happened with Max and I. He was like very on again, off again with his college girlfriend.
Yeah.
And she was in New York and he was in LA, and they were sort of in that, you know, when you kind of like you break up, but you kind of still keep them on the back burner. You're still like kind of talking to them, and and they were broken up, but they were still talking. And it hadn't been that long since they had like officially was like, okay, like I think we do need to end this.
Yeah.
And then he had met me, and he actually had to like call her and say like, I met someone. I think it's not right that we even continue being like quote unquote friends, you know, like
Yeah.
friendly talking. And so I definitely, for the first couple years of my relationship, like was always, you know, had a feeling about her specifically. Like I didn't care about his high school girlfriend or anything like that because it was so in the past. But because it was just so new, like I didn't really want him ever like communicating with her really because it's so new.
That's
And
fair.
then you kind of get, I don't think I really felt this way, but I can feel how a lot of people would feel like you were the rebound. Like he might be feeling like he was the rebound to like their relationship because they only broke up a few months before.
That's fair.
So you could be having
Yeah.
insecurities about that.
Yeah. I think it's something that can be managed. I just think what we're talking about here is a prolonged, sustained interaction with your ex that's basically a romantic context, even though it's like not a romance, but it's like you're talking about romance.
Yeah.
You know, like the when I was in a long-term relationship, she did let me meet up with one of my exes to record a podcast, which was this podcast, of course. You guys heard that episode with Carly hundreds of episodes ago.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know, it was not a romantic context. It was a very old relationship that wasn't mired by what you're talking about, which is like
Right.
proximity to the relationship. It was a discreet one-off.
For sure.
But like people like being like, oh, what? You don't trust me? I can't see my ex every single day.
Well, yeah, right.
That's not really about
Yeah.
trust.
And like I have recently changed my mind. I used to be the type of person of like, well, like if you trust him, like you know, like you should be able to like go through the fire, baby. And then like I got in a relationship, and, like I love that, man. Like if it's true love, like that gold won't melt, babe. That gold's not gonna melt. You know, like that used to be my mindset. And then I got in a relationship that like I give a fuck about, and I was like, actually no, actually let's not. Like we were talking about something recently, and I was like, you know, if we have this like impenetrable bond, then like why are we trying to penetrate it? Why am I putting myself in a position that's going to test my relationship?
Yeah.
If I know that like we're good, then let's just stay good.
Right.
Why do I need to like sit with my, because like truthfully, if I knew my boyfriend was with his ex-boyfriend, I would be hot. I would be hot. I would not be okay.
Well, understandably.
Yeah.
Totally. I completely
I think-
agree. And I do think that Kiki is like kind of being the little puppet master
I don't like
here.
it
I
too
don't get
hard.
why everything has to be
I don't like
so
you, Kiki,
like a
sorry.
joint reception toast. Why?
It's weird. It's weird.
They can't do separate ones.
It's what you
weird.
said. They're a friend group. This
Yeah.
is her way of forcing the friend group, and it's sick. It's
Don't
not
like it.
respecting the autonomy. It's
Don't
not
like
respecting
it.
OP. I mean, it's spitting in OP's face.
It truly is.
I think a huge thing of being an adult, it applies to exes, but it applies to honestly almost anything. It's like put yourself in positions that set yourself up for success. Like, yeah, like
And put your friends in those positions too. Because what Kiki's doing is
Absolutely.
sabotaging her friends' relationships potential for success.
100%, 100%. Let's get into some comments here. Squiggles567, soft YTA. You don't trust her. If she's going to cheat with the ex, she's going to do it regardless of how much distance you try to create. And your signs of not trusting her could be one of the things that pushes her back toward him. Wow. So now she can just blame it on fucking OP.
Exactly. Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
You could instead be the man making googly eyes at how amazing she looks in her maid of honor. Fuck this. I can't even finish this comment.
And this
Fuck
one
off.
was top. This one was top.
Reddit is ridiculous.
I know. And I scrolled really far down to get an NTA.
The bad agent, NTA, TBH, it sounds like the couple is trying to get them back together. It's suspicious AF. However, I don't think there's enough to go on to assume she's going to do you dirty. That couple, on the other hand, knows exactly what they're doing.
I think so.
That's exactly what we're saying.
Utterly bonkers. I mean, I
Shady
think
friends.
people are so delusional about this. And like, there's studies that show like we only have so much willpower. Like you will run out. I mean, I've been noticing it. What?
Just your lack of willpower?
Well, I noticed that I run out. Like if I have a new run goal, so I'm running hard every day, and I push myself, and like especially when I'm like, so I go up a 1 kilometer a week. So when I'm like in the new, like, so I went from 8, then on the 9 days, like the first couple 9 days, I'm like. Afterward, it's like so hard for me to do anything. I'm like scrolling Instagram. I'm like, Danny, you have stuff to do. And it's like so much harder. And like we have finite willpower. Yeah. Like if I were to go at that point and like, you know, go to fucking the House of Temptation, I don't like my odds.
Yeah, no, it's true. Especially when you have literal history. Chemistry with this person. It's
I agree.
Right.
I agree.
And can we talk about the rush of feelings you get when you're yo-yoing with someone? You know what I'm talking about?
What does that mean? Like up and down?
Not necessarily up and down, but like when you break up with someone, but then you get back together and the rush that creates.
Yes.
Oof, it's so strong.
Yeah, like seeing your ex for another time, for sure. You're like, oh my gosh, like it almost feels like the beginning again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's so like powerful and addicting. And I feel like that's just like
I think honestly, that's why probably a lot of couples do that break up and get back together shit.
I mean, people don't get me started on this, but people love chaos. Chaos is a drug.
Chaos
the chaos addicts. Yeah, no, you're right. It hits like no other. It hits like no other. I mean, I'm dealing with this because I have thoughts sometimes about probably my most chaotic roller coaster relationships, and I'll have thoughts like nobody could ever be like her. And I'm like, obviously that's something I can never say to a future partner. Right. But I'm realizing too, I'm like, well, yeah, that's because it was traumatizing as well. Because the lows were the lows were trauma. So yeah, the highs felt pretty good because the lows were so bad. I'm gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. It's gay for not wanting my girlfriend to walk down the aisle and spend extra time with her ex for a wedding. I'm shook that Reddit went this way. This is really upsetting.
I think NTA. I think that they could definitely compromise and meet in the middle a little bit of like with doing like texting and Zooming and with Kiki saying you're ruining the wedding planning. Why do you care how the wedding gets planned as long as it gets done?
So rigid.
Give the people their roles and then the outcome is what's important. Right. It's not how they do it.
But that's because she's the puppet master. You nailed it.
Right. And I also think along with her being the puppet master, it's like, I feel like, okay, hot take. I know that this is, okay, I'm just hot take.
Just take it. Just take it.
Okay.
Your wedding does not supersede people's boundaries.
True.
You having a wedding does not mean that you can make every Tom, Dick, and motherfucking Harry uncomfortable for your sake, bitch.
Yeah.
Like, because my life has to go on after this.
Louder for the people in the back.
So, like, you fucking my shit up because you want me to live in your, like, fantasy of, like, ooh, I got so-and-so back together for my wedding. Like, no, this is not a game.
Yeah.
And, like, me expressing a boundary of, like, hey, can you find a way to not spend a week with your ex-boyfriend while I just sit at home and wait for you to not cheat on me? Like,
so many bride and grooms just, like
it's
cannot
not
comprehend that their wedding isn't the most important
life is going on.
Yeah.
It's
very
sickening.
True.
Makes my stomach hurt.
I think we agree wholeheartedly. It's NTA. Guys, thank you so much for listening. Please rate, review, subscribe, listen to us on Spotify, join us on Instagram, on YouTube, on TikTok.
And join us on Patreon.
Patreon.com/AITA pod. We're very close to 200 bonus episodes. So there's just a lot of content there for you guys, including some major juice. All right, guys, we're going to wrap things up. Here we go. Horace, thanks so much for joining us.
Hey,
you're a
thanks for
ton of
having
fun.
me, guys. It's so
I
fun.
know.
Do I cuss too much?
No, not at all.
We
Fuck
did have a
yeah.
complaint about that.
Did we?
Remember?
Too much cursing?
The mother effer thing.
Oh my God!
Oh,
What?
man.
Some motherfucker complaining about motherfucker?
Yeah,
That's
motherfuckery.
crazy.
That
It's a term of
motherfucker.
endearment in
I
my
love
circle.
the
You
word.
I
know, give me a
agree.
break.
You're right.
Horace is a good motherfucker.
I'm a good
you know?
motherfucker. You're a good
He
motherfucker,
knows.
too.
Thank you. I
Thanks.
appreciate that.
See, I sounded black on that one.
Yeah, you did a little bit.
You were good. You were good.
AITA for refusing to go to my brother's overflow wedding. My 23F brother, 30M, has been planning a wedding with his 26F fiance for a year. My brother and I have never been close because of our age difference. Isn't it 4 years?
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's 7 years. It's 7 years. But it's not like we don't get along. They'd been dating for a few years, and his fiance wanted to have this giant wedding with all of our family and hers, plus friends, plus ones, etc. But they really couldn't afford it. They finally agreed to have this wedding at a venue that's small and they can't afford, but doesn't allow more than 100 people in at a time. I guess her and her parents were mad about this because more than 100 people just in her family friend list needed to be invited and their plus ones. So they made a compromise where some of the guests would be part of the 100 and the rest of the guests would be in the overflow wedding.
Oh my God.
That's so awful.
They would still be invited, but they wouldn't mess up the limit the venue has. So the guests in the overflow room would watch the ceremony on a live stream projected into a movie theater nearby the venue that they rented out. I guess this is renting out a room in a theater is cheaper.
No way.
Apparently her list is the most important, so I was invited to the overflow wedding?
Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark.
I was pissed about this, and I asked him what this was about when we were at my dad's birthday party 2 weeks after I got the invite. He said it was fine because I could go to the reception. I told him it was the principal. I'm his immediate family, so I should be able to go to the normal venue. He told me that he needs to make her family happy and that I should understand. Then he said we're not that close a family anyway and that she needs to be happy on our wedding. I told him I will not be attending the wedding and that I should get to go to the main ceremony. He got mad and we were yelling and fighting. Multiple people at the party yelled at me for making a scene and that it's her day and I should be grateful for even getting to go to the overflow. AITA. What an
What a
insult.
slap in the face.
Your brother.
Your brother.
Oh my
And
God.
then for him to be like, we're not even that close. Like, how hurtful is that?
Is that really the right time to drop that?
But then you also for
No.
sure want me to like give you a fucking gift from your registry.
Exactly.
You want me to like make sure that it amount that is like cost the
Yeah.
head of like for
Overflow
food.
wedding, overflow registry, I say.
Right.
Yeah, that's we did have some comments saying that it's like it sounds like it was just a gift grab.
I
Oh, yeah.
recently saw
Scoring gifts.
a girl, my boyfriend got a message in the mail saying, "We eloped. We went with our like 5 closest friends in our family to such and such. If you still want to like donate gifts to the registry, here you go." And I was like, "Girl, that's not an elopement. You just had a small wedding and just asked people for gifts that you didn't want to invite to the wedding."
Literally, because
still
like
had a wedding
gifts
with
are kind
people.
of like you paying to go to the wedding.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with that, though.
That's
I don't know.
crazy
I'm
to
trying to
me.
think of a
I
couple.
don't like that.
I think that's crazy to me. It's insulting that you didn't. And so not to segue, this is ridiculous.
I can think of couples, though, where I wouldn't be insulted by that, though.
Would you give a gift?
I might.
Oh my
If
God.
I like them a lot, if I had good
Yeah.
interactions
I would
with them.
maybe like take them out to eat as like let's celebrate together since like
Mm.
because I understand when people only want to have like 5 people it's like
Yeah.
a little elopement. I totally get that. But yeah, and like maybe I'd bring them a gift if I was like with them. I don't know that I would necessarily want to just like send them something like
From the registry.
I guess it depends on my relationship with them, but I think it'd be nice to like, oh, let's like separately celebrate.
Yeah.
So I can like, join in on the fun.
Yeah.
Get
Yeah,
something
that's
out of
true.
it.
That's true.
I think in this case, like, again, I don't get down with another hot take.
Here we go.
Looking straight, saying this with my chest. It is not just your day. that is not
I agree with this.
Yeah.
and
I'm
that is
behind
not
this one.
an excuse to be able to just be fucking rude and exclusive and mean with your invitations because you're a woman getting married.
You have to be a gracious host.
Yeah.
You are throwing a party for your love, but also for other people.
Mhm.
You need to make the experience
Yeah.
a well-rounded, amazing, fun experience for your guests.
Of course. And it's about bringing together two families. It's not just your day.
And don't
You
you
know?
think that people that the B team that got invited to the overflow
JV.
would be like, what the fuck? JV. What the fuck is the groom's sister doing here? Wouldn't that be weird?
Crazy.
And
If I was in that movie theater, I'd be heckling that shit.
True.
know?
Making
Also-
fun of their vows.
hell yeah.
and
And I'm like,
stuff.
I'm sorry. Is that not like egotistical as fuck to be like, oh my God, everyone is gonna
people
keep
really want to go to our
dying
ceremony. How
to
the
watch my wedding.
Yeah, exactly. If
From a
everyone's
theater.
just going to the reception after, what they should have done was just invite a smaller
Yes.
group to the ceremony,
Exactly.
and then
Yes.
everyone comes to the reception because no one wants to go to the fucking ceremony.
No,
Okay, I'm
girl.
saying it here and now.
It's so true. I went to a Zoom wedding during
Oh, I
COVID,
did too.
and
Yeah, I
I
went to
was
a couple, I
it was such an
think.
eye
It's
roll.
really
I think I had it
boring.
open on one tab, but like I half screened that.
Yeah, and I was like
Amazon,
online shopping on the
but-
rest.
bullshit. Yeah, I think you nailed that. I think this was an insult. I was wondering how it played out on the invite, but obviously eventually it had to be communicated, or it was communicated. I mean, doing a day of would be just as insulting.
Yeah.
I think what you said, Shannon, is very obviously you can't do that to your brother either way.
Yeah.
But like, just don't invite me to the ceremony. Nobody
No.
care. We're happy to not
No,
go to the ceremony
for
for
sure.
most people.
And also, I do understand like them not being close because of their age difference. I mean, it's a guy that was 7 years older, and then he had a little sister 7 years later. So I can totally see how they weren't close.
Right.
Based on that fact only, that they like barely grew up in the same time period,
Mhm.
and they're different genders,
Yeah.
not a lot of interests. But that doesn't mean that there's not like love there, and that shouldn't be a special person to you.
I mean,
And also,
he would
why not-
share a toothbrush with her, according to Shannon's rules of toothbrush.
You might even
sharing.
mumble around a
That
park.
was a different episode, okay?
But I also don't understand why, like, you wouldn't see this as an opportunity to, like,
Yes.
foster the
Try
relationship.
and get closer.
like,
Of course.
you know,
Of
I just don't
course.
get
It's your
like, and
sister.
it's weird to be shady to someone who's not your sibling. You know, like if the wife being like, I don't want her.
Well,
That's weird.
That's
And then
fucked
they're
up.
not gonna have a good relationship. They're about to be sister-in-laws.
That's weird to
That's a good
me.
point. That's a good
you know,
point.
I'm like, why are you trying to actually exclude? Like,
I am seeing
it's-
Bridezilla.
it's fine
I think
if
we all
I-
kind of got there at the same time.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like it's fine if I do it, but like that's my sister. You know what I mean? Like, let me tell you that she's not coming.
Well, I
Don't-
think it was him, wasn't it?
no, I thought that the wife said she can't come, and then the husband was just like, it's her day.
Oh,
She says whatever it goes.
I don't know. that.
Yeah.
My
That's
wife's
how-
Bridezilla.
That's what I
don't
kind of
know.
felt for him, because I do feel like, I mean, this is my attitude. I feel like, you know, generally speaking, weddings are, you know, kind of for the woman, you know, heteronormatively. Excuse me, Horace.
There's gays here.
Gays in the building.
You
Watch
know,
your tone,
I mean, in
boy.
a gay
There's
marriage,
gays in this room.
the gayer guy, that's who the wedding's for? I don't know how to say that.
Yeah. But I think that it should be for both. Like it should, the point of it, I think, is like, you know, you're showing your love to your family and friends, but it's also like bringing your family and friends together. Like
Right.
I feel like it would be really important for me to
100%.
my family, my extended family, to meet his extended family,
Of
and
course.
immediate too, but they've mostly met already. But just to like get them closer and meet one another and understand
well-
one another more. And I just don't get why you
Would go out of your way.
to uninvite like what.
Your
It doesn't.
immediate
It
family.
seems like they're the only two siblings, because I didn't hear any. Like the other brothers or
Yeah,
sisters
yeah,
are going,
right.
so I'm kind of
God, your
wondering
only
if it was
sister.
literally just her.
And like, did she get a
excluded.
+1 to the tailgate that is their wedding?
tailgate.
Like, is she just supposed to just go there alone, and the rest of her family's inside of the room?
I mean, it
And
sounds
she's
like
just there
she
drinking a
would
Bud Light,
so
watching
messed
fucking
up.
Ed Sheeran,
just roasting it.
song lyrics. Like, what the fuck is she supposed to do?
Awful.
That's so exclusionary, and like, I don't know. It's awful.
I think it is like what you guys were saying earlier, just like insulting and egotistical.
Yeah.
That people would want to do this.
What does she think is actually going to show up to that?
I know. And it's just...
It's an insult. AITA for refusing to go to my brother's overflow wedding. I think it's a no-brainer. I think the concept of an overflow wedding, I think Shannon nailed this. Just don't invite them and invite them to the reception. That's the overflow wedding, folks. I think we agree wholeheartedly on this. NTA and the brother is. I mean, ultimately, he wears it, even if it's the bridezilla factor.
Yeah, it's his,
right?
responsibility.
It's his responsibility.
He's the one that should be sticking up for his family, and the fact that he said we're not even that close, like that's rude. That's rubbing salt in the wound. That would be so hurtful to me, regardless. And also, he's the older sibling.
Yeah.
Like you need to be setting that example. I mean, you're almost the same age gap with you and Andy. Like, I just feel like
I look up to him though, but yeah.
And I just feel like, you know, when you're a younger sister. Like looking up to your cool, big, older brother. I'm sure her entire life, all she wanted was for him to think she was cool. And now this.
Now look at you in a movie theater.
And, and one more thing that I actually think is even shadier about this bridezilla is in my mind, you know, like I've heard people talk about like your gift should be like how much the plate of food costs.
Yes, I've heard
right?
that.
And so like if you
heard that.
And so like if you come to the overflow wedding, they're more incentivized to bring a gift to the wedding, therefore makes up for like the food that they would be eating at the reception. But if you just invite people to the reception, then they like maybe would, I don't know. I just think that there's a way, there's more of an incentive for this bride to make her money back is basically what I'm saying.
Because you think that they wouldn't bring gifts if they were just going to the overflow?
Maybe not. I don't know. I don't know.
They would.
Maybe. I don't know.
No,
Maybe
that's why I think it's like a gift grab.
Yeah,
I
give
here.
the amount of money based on how much I love the couple. And 150 is the max. So if I gave you less.
$1.50, right? So it's
$1.50.
Yeah, the comment here says, NTA, if there are 100 people in their lives who are more important to them than you, they won't miss you at the wedding. This whole overflow reception feels like a shameless gift grab. If you're watching on live stream from a completely different place, it's not like it makes any difference to them whether you're there or not.
That's brutal. Sad, but true.
And then someone was also saying that overflow weddings were used fairly common during medieval times because the peasants stayed outside and ate scraps.
Right. That's the same thing, Reddit. That's totally
I mean, it kind of feels the same fucking way.
Kind of.
Goodness gracious.
The peasants loved a good live stream.
I don't like that one.
Yep.
AITA for not watching the wedding on a movie. I lost the situation title.
Oh, yeah.
I think we agree.
NTA
And the brother is. All right, guys. That's the show. Horace, thanks again for joining us.
Thanks
It's always a blast.
Thanks, guys.
All right, guys. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
How's our harmonizing?
Oh, was I supposed to join in on that?
Yeah,
you
no,
are.
it's you're
Take
out,
two.
you're out of our troop.
Bye.
That was good. We had it for a second at least. It's fat.
Woo! Woo, baby.
Goodness.